Welcome to the Math Universal Screener Training for kindergarten through second grade educators. This training will include 4 modules. Part 1 will give you an overview of the assessment. Part 2 will help you learn to administer the screener. Part 3 will guide you in scoring the assessments. And Part 4 will give you more information about the data from the assessments and what your next steps will be. We will begin Part 1 of this training, the overview and introduction, which applies to all teachers in kindergarten through second grade who are teaching math. The following modules after that, from Part 2 through 4, will be slightly different for each grade level. Information for this presentation was adapted from the 3-Tier Mathematics Model website. It was created in conjunction with the Meadow Center for Preventing Educational Risk. It is a free resource for Texas teachers. You're more than welcome to explore this site, but everything you need will be accessible through a Google folder, which will be introduced later in the training. If you do wish to visit this website, you will need the username and password on this page. The username is Texas Teacher, and there is an intentional space between the 2 words, and the password is mathematics, all lowercase. A universal screener is meant to identify students who are at risk in your classroom. It will not give you information about the exact level that each student is on, but simply give you an idea of these students that you may wish to monitor more and the students who are not at risk. The focus for the universal screener is all students in your classroom. The tools are brief assessments that are valid, reliable, and that demonstrate diagnostic accuracy for predicting learning or behavioral problems. The time frame that we are using is we are administering the assessment in the fall, in the winter, and the spring to all learners. Coppell has chosen to use 3 different assessments depending on the grade level as our universal screeners for mathematics. So kindergarten through second grade educators will be using something called the Texas Early Mathematics Inventory Progress Monitoring, and you will see that abbreviated as the TEMI-PM. Third and fourth grade educators will be using the Elementary Students in Texas Algebra Readiness Assessment, which is abbreviated as E-STAR, not to be confused with our STAR state assessment. 5th through 8th grade will be using the assessment called Middle School Students in Texas Algebra Readiness, and that is abbreviated as M-STAR. The format for you for kindergarten through second grade teachers is that it will assess fundamental number operations and quantitative reasoning skills, and it will also assess skills that are fundamental to broad-based mathematics proficiency. So the focus for all of our elementary universal screeners is on numeracy. You will administer your assessment to the whole group. It will be paper pencil based. It can be given in Spanish, and more information about that will come. There are 4 subtests, but the total test time should only be about 30 to 45 minutes. Each subtest is 2 minutes, but then that factors in some time to give your demonstrations, to practice, and then to transition between each subtest. So total, it should only take about 30 minutes. There are 3 forms of the assessment. There's a Form A, Form B, and Form C, and those are meant to be used as fall, winter, and spring assessments. We are giving this assessment to all of our learners all 3 times throughout the year. So some information you need to know now is: when do I give the universal screener? Where do I access the universal screener? And how do I give the universal screener? The Coppell ISD District Testing Calendar provides information about all of the district and state assessments and the dates that we are giving them. There is some overlap between subject areas, for example, language arts and math, so you need to check the testing calendar thoroughly, but the Mathematics Universal Screener window opens on August 24th and extends through September 16th. For 3rd through 8th grade, it is September 8th through September 23rd. The difference in these timelines is due to the format of the test. So kinder through 2nd grade, you have a paper pencil test, and so the window is a little bit more flexible and opens a little earlier. But 3rd through 8th grade, your assessments are computer-based, and so the window is opened at the same time for everyone in Texas taking it at the same time. So that is a little bit not as flexible. Where do I find the screeners? Probably one of your questions. So many people have worked hours organizing the updated RTI resources into a folder to hopefully provide a user-friendly place to access what you need. So in your Google Drive, you can search for Coppell Intervention Services Public Google folder. So you'll just type in this first part, Coppell Intervention Services Public. It is open to all Coppell ISD employees, and so you should have access to that. So when you search for this folder, you will find information about RTI 2, 504, Behavior Services, Special Ed, all in one place. So for today's purposes, you'll need to click on RTI 2, and then Math, of course. And then we're in the K through 2 Math folder. Mine are color-coded because I just made them that way, but yours will probably appear all black. Okay, so this is your go-to place for all information about our math RTI this year. So at first glance, it may seem like a lot of information, but we've really broken it down into parts and linked everything all in one place so you're not going to external websites and having to search for what you need. So the first thing that you may see, number 1, is a PDF. This flowchart is a one-stop shop. So when I download this flowchart, you will find an overview of the whole RTI process. And I suggest you download it because the font will be way too small to read unless you zoom in or print this out. But this follows the administrative guidelines that were updated this year that your principals have gone over with you about the RTI process. So it talks about our universal screener and then questions to ask yourself. Did the data identify the learner as at risk? No, and it tells you to continue to provide high quality instruction and monitor them. If yes, then you need to provide high quality instruction and monitor them, collecting some data points that we'll talk about a little later in some other training. So this is just an overview flowchart that will take you all the way through the Tier 3 level. So you may not need that right now, but that's a place you can come back to get information to see where you need to go. If there are words in blue, they will be linked to the place in the Google folder, so it will directly take you there. But you do not have to use this flowchart if this is not your learning style or this is overwhelming to you at this point. You don't have to use the flowchart. It's just an overview of the entire process. What you will need to access today is number 2, the universal screener. This has information for kindergarten through 2nd grade educators, and it has each individual part that you will need in the process. So later we'll be talking about each of these, but just so you know where they are right now, you will have a teacher's manual, student test booklets, scoring forms, and then a required tracking sheet, which is like a spreadsheet that you'll keep up with their scores on. And each grade level has their own, so make sure you click on your appropriate grade level. So this is a document that we will come back to and expand on more, but we wanted you to know where to locate those as just part of the overview. So again, that was in the Coppell ISD Intervention Services public Google folder. We went to RTI 2, Math, K through 2, and here are all the documents that you need. For this training, you will need the Universal Screener document. The last question that we talked about was how to administer the assessment, and so more information is going to be coming in part 2 of this training. So be sure after you finish this part that you watch the training for your specific grade level. It's not completely different, but there are slight differences between the subtests at each grade level, and so I want to make sure you get the most accurate information that you can. So take just a moment to see if you can answer any in all of these questions, and if you need to, go back and rewatch a portion of this training, collaborate with your colleagues, email your math coach if you can't find something or need assistance. So you should know now, what is a universal screener? What is the name of the specific universal screener that you're going to be giving to your learners this year? When is the universal screener testing window? And what is the name of the Google folder where all of the RTI2 information is housed? If you know those pieces of information, then you have a good overview and understanding of our introduction and part 1 training. So you've completed part 1 of the Universal Screener training, and now you will continue to the following modules. Part 2, administering the Universal Screener. Part 3 is scoring, and part 4 is data and next steps.